Finally, after several months of anticipation, we have a full trailer for the Muppet Show Revival special coming to ABC just next month on February 4th of 2026. This 30-second spot ran during ABC's New Year's Eve special and features quite a bit of very interesting new footage. And today, I'm going to break down all of it and go over everything you may have missed in the 2026 Muppet Show special trailer. Hello everybody, and welcome back to Mupp Down Funk. I'm your host Ty, as always, and today I am very excited. I love breaking down Easter eggs in trailers, and this is the first time I've been able to do that here on this channel, so let's get started. But before we do, I just want to briefly mention, Disney didn't officially release this trailer on YouTube until this morning, the morning of January 2nd, and by the time they did, this video was already almost halfway edited, and my editor and I were using footage from someone else who screen recorded the trailer and posted it. So if some of the footage is a little more high quality than other footage, or if the quality seems to get a bit better at around the 10 or 15 minute mark of the video, you'll know why. Anyway, let's get started with this trailer breakdown. We start off with a couple shots of Kermit turning on the lights to the Muppet Theater. These are the exact same shots that we saw in the teaser trailer a few weeks back. I'd honestly be pretty surprised if these end up in the final version of the show. I expect them to just be some shots created originally for that trailer that are now being reused here. We get a shot of the stage, and then a zoom in on Kermit, who explains it's the return of the Muppet Show, back on the stage where it all started and then ended, and is maybe starting again depending on how tonight goes. Of course, when this special was first rumored, it was rumored to be a backdoor pilot for a full-fledged Muppet Show revival, and it seems that's basically been confirmed here. I'm honestly kind of surprised that we have Kermit straight up saying that if this does well, they'll do more, but that's a very meta sort of Muppet way to do it. And of course, it's intercut with a bunch of shots of things going wrong. As Kermit talks, we have several shots that are simply part of the Muppet Show intro, recreated for this special. It's just the classic Muppet Show intro redone again, very similar to what we saw in the 2011 movie. We see a shot of the orchestra pit as the curtains open. Very nice to see that Lips was put in there. And of course, we also have that classic shot of Rowlf and Zoot. Interesting to note, Rowlf's puppet was actually recently rebuilt, I'd assume for this pilot. We've seen a lot of old Muppets return and be rebuilt for this special, and we're going to see even more throughout this trailer. Rowlf is the only main character where I've noticed a puppet rebuild for this special. While main characters get new puppets all the time, and it's typically not all that much to talk about, Rowlf is pretty notable because this is seemingly the first new Rowlf puppet in about 40 years. Yeah, according to the Muppet Wiki, the previous Rowlf puppet had been in use since 1985. They got a lot of use out of that guy, and now, for this special, they finally rebuilt him. Absolutely crazy. I first noticed Rowlf was new during a set of videos he did for the Muppets 70th Anniversary initiative on social media. This was also the puppet they brought out to the Game Awards last month. This Rowlf has slightly lighter fur on his face, I think, and also his eyes seem a bit closer together. Trust me, I'm a Rowlf expert. We have a shot of Gonzo in his helmet zooming by a cast of other Muppets. We've seen him wear this helmet many times recently, although I think his jumpsuit may be new. Definitely let me know if I'm wrong about that down in the comments. He passes by a group of other characters, including the Swedish Chef, Beaker, Sam Eagle, Pops, Bunsen, and in the background you could see two of the Flying Zucchini Brothers, marking their first appearance since the beginning of Muppets Most Wanted. We then get a shot of Beauregard hacking a box off the wall with a crowbar. There's another shot of Beauregard later on in the trailer as well. Maybe we'll be getting some backstage hijinks. Maybe bringing the Muppet Show back on air will have some bad effects on the building itself, and Beauregard will have to deal with them or something like that. We then get a shot of Beaker's eyes falling out, which is very interesting. In the background, there's a sign that says Muppet Lab Techs Only. I think this basically confirms, right, that we're going to be getting a new Muppet Lab segment, and this is what's going to happen to poor Beaker at the end of it. This guy can never escape the terrible body horror happening to him. After this, we have another shot from the intro recreated, the classic shot of the monsters walking through the arches. I was very interested to see what they were going to do for this part of the intro in the special. For those of you who don't know, I covered this in a past Muppet Deep Dive episode. The original arch sequence featured a character named Timmy Monster, who wasn't brought back for the 2011 movie. In fact, in that movie, his arch was just kept empty. And with all of the classic original Muppet Show characters that haven't shown up since reappearing in this special, I was wondering if Timmy Monster would be rebuilt or not. Well, it seems he was not. This shot actually replaces him with Dog Lion, something first done in the Muppets Take the Bull and O2 shows in 2017 and 2018. Aside from him, though, the rest of the roster is the exact same. Two of the mutations, Sweetums and my boy Thog there in the middle. And it looks like they finally rebuilt Thog to be the proper size. For those of you who don't know, this is something that I covered back in my Thog video. In the 2011 Muppet movie, they accidentally rebuilt this character 4 feet taller than he was supposed to be. They rebuilt him to be 12 feet tall instead of 9. They make a joke about that in the movie by having Thog get stuck in the arches, and then afterwards he just walks in front of them because he simply doesn't fit. But here, it looks like they rebuilt him so that he could fit, which is really great. I thought maybe they would cheat it and digitally shrink down the 2011 Thog puppet with CGI, but no, this is definitely a new Thog puppet, much more in line with the original. Very cool. We then got a shot of Sabrina Carpenter here, of course the guest star for this special, in a bar set. I'd assume this is part of some sort of musical number. It's going to be interesting to see if she's singing her own songs or songs with the Muppets or what they do. Of course, in the original Muppet Show, the guest stars tended to sing their own work, so I assume that's what she'll be doing, but we'll have to wait and see. She's singing while swinging around a Muppet before throwing them. I cannot for the life of me figure out who this Muppet is, but later on in the trailer, there's another shot of her in this same bar set alongside the Frackle JG wearing a white tank top. So I'd assume this is probably him. This is going to be the punchline or part of the punchline for this segment. Also in the shot, we have Sam the Eagle behind the bar stool. We have a group of chickens who I assume are going to be Sabrina Carpenter's backup singers. And the most interesting character here, in my opinion, is Paul Revere the horse, who's sticking his head out on the left side of the screen. We haven't seen this guy in a long time. His last appearance was in the 3rd episode of Muppets Tonight back in 1997. Very interesting background character to bring back. I'm not sure if this is his previous puppet being used again, or if he was rebuilt. His eyes seem a bit farther apart than they were before, maybe, but I can't quite tell. I'll have to get a closer look at him. We then have Miss Piggy breaking down the door to Sabrina Carpenter's dressing room. I'd assume they're going to have some sort of rivalry, as right after this, we get a shot of her telling Miss Piggy she's an icon, and Piggy being quite flattered before they both show up and dramatically turn around in the same clothing. Maybe Piggy's going to think that she's supposed to be the guest star for the episode and she gets mad when she learns there's another one. I'm not sure. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Sabrina Carpenter here. I'm not the biggest fan of her, but I think she's a really great artist, and I think she's a good pick for somebody who could do both comedic sketches and solid, great musical numbers. I will say, though, I do hope somewhere in the special we get an appearance from someone who appeared on the original Muppet Show. That might be a bit much to ask, but this is being aired as a 50th anniversary special, and I think it'd be really great if we could see one of the guest stars who was on the original show come back, but, that's probably not going to be the case. It's going to be interesting to see if this gets picked up as a full series, what other guest stars they're going to have. I think Sabrina Carpenter is a great choice for the pilot because she's very relevant right now and is also a pretty big name to get, and it could definitely get some other people and studios interested in coming on as guest stars. Let me know in the comments who you would like to see guest star on a Muppet Show reboot. Maybe I'll do a video going over that in the future. I do like Piggy dressing up in Sabrina Carpenter's sort of signature look with the hair and the big jacket. I think that's a very funny thing. Piggy has a long history of making herself look like the guest stars. But after that, we have, of course, another shot from the intro, the recreation of the iconic Muppet Show arches. This has so many characters in it. Oh my gosh, of course they put this in the trailer, right? There is a lot to talk about here. And I think this shot gives us a pretty good look at what the roster for this new Muppet Show is going to be. This shot contains a combination of your typical Muppet main cast, classic Muppet Show characters returning, and the other Muppet characters that have sort of been added into the main cast along the way. That seems to be comprising the sort of main cast here. It's going to be very interesting to see, right? This sort of combination of Muppets from over the years. I'm just going to go in order of what we see. At the top, in the far upper left, I am shocked to see who I'm pretty sure is Hilda, right? Hilda was the Muppet Theater seamstress who only appeared in the first season of The Muppet Show, and I'm pretty sure hasn't shown up since, which is absolutely crazy to see that she is back. That is really, really cool. I wonder if she'll speak in this show or have anything other than this little cameo in the intro, because they definitely had to rebuild her for this, I'd assume. She was given a Muppet of the Week spotlight, so yeah, very cool to see her back. After that, we have Pops, then Robin, then Uncle Deadly, of course, now a very significant character in the Muppet lineup after the 2015 Muppet Show, where he became Piggy's sort of personal assistant. After that, I'm very happy to see one of my personal favorite background Muppets return. It's Baskerville the Hound. Baskerville was a character created to star alongside Rowlf in Purina Dog Chow commercials back in the 60s. He then made his way onto the Muppet Show. And I'm so happy to see that he's back here. He's another character that we haven't seen in a very, very long time. He hasn't shown up since the first episode of Muppets Tonight in 1997. So really happy to see him here ever since he got a Muppet of the Week right after George the Janitor and Gaffer, two characters who were confirmed to come back to this show. I knew they had to bring him back. After that, we got Pepe, easily the most significant Muppet character to debut after the Muppet Show, so of course he had to be here in the reboot. We've got classic Muppet and Sesame Street background character Beautiful Day Monster. After that, we have Bobo, who's such a big puppet. It's very strange to see him here. It feels like he's almost been shrunken down to fit in this top row of arches. Another addition to the Muppet cast in the 90s who's become one of their sort of mainstays over the past few decades. Then we've got Beaker, Howard Tubman, a character who was originally created for Muppets Tonight, who has made a shockingly high amount of return appearances and speaking return appearances in the last couple of years. He came back in like the ABC Muppet Show, and they just keep using him. Very interesting. But hey, again, another character, right, from after the Muppet Show who's been used a lot and shows up in the reboot here. We got Crazy Harry, Marvin Suggs, Wayne, and Wanda. Happy to see them next to each other. New Zealand, all typical characters you would expect to see here. Then, on the second row, we have the male Kuzbanian. Very happy to see some Planet Kuzbane representation. After that, we have Bean Bunny. Bean Bunny has a lot of fans. I'm not a big fan of Bean, but I am very happy to see him back. With Muppet Vision 3D gone, it's good to see that they're going to continue to use Bean in other locations. We first learned about Bean's return in a promotional video released for Christmas for the Disney Cruise Line last week, released the same day as that video that revealed that Rizzo had a new puppeteer. Rizzo and Bean both returning for this reboot, both with a new puppeteer, Bradley Freeman Jr. He's a puppeteer who typically works on Sesame Street. He did some assistant puppetry in the Muppets Mayhem Show. These are his first non-Sesame Street main Muppet characters. I'm so excited to see a new young puppeteer added to the lineup. And if you haven't heard, his Bean and Rizzo voices are both very, very solid. Bean is another character who was never on the original Muppet Show. He debuted in 1986, a few years after it ended. We then have Dr. Julius Strangepork from Pigs in Space, the Swedish Chef. We then have Sam Eagle, and next to Sam, I'm pretty sure this is just a generic male whatnot. This doesn't seem to be any specific character. Maybe it's a new character, but yeah, it's just a generic whatnot. Next to him, though, we have George the Janitor, another big returning character. George was confirmed to return to this show when he was Muppet of the Week a couple months back. They showcased his new puppet and all that. George was the janitor for the Muppet Show in its first season, and he was really phased out after season 1, and then Beauregard came in and became very prominent. Going to be interesting to see both George and Beauregard around We see a lot of Beauregard in this trailer, right? So I wonder if George will be the janitor at all, or if he's just going to be a background character. Next to that, a character I'm very happy to see back. This is the Blue Frackle, really one of the main Frackles in the Muppets ensemble. He last appeared in Muppets Most Wanted, hasn't appeared in any of the productions since then, and before Muppets Most Wanted, hadn't been seen in decades. So I am happy that one of the main Frackles from the original Muppet Show is going to be back here in the revival. We then have Link Hogthrob. This is a super big nitpick, but I kind of wish Link were in his tuxedo for the intro. I know Strangepork doesn't really have other clothing. We're used to seeing him in the Pigs in Space uniform for the intro, but Link has other clothes that he often wears now, and I do kind of wish he was wearing those instead. After that, we have the Green Frackle, just like Blue Frackle. He's made a couple recent appearances, a couple more than Blue Frackle, but it's good to see him back as well. The blue and green ones are really sort of the main ones back on the original Muppet Show. Next to Green Frackle, we've got Beauregard, then moving into the next arch, sort of the main one, with most of our main characters and a few others. We, of course, have Rizzo. So happy he's back. Rizzo debuted pretty late into the original run of The Muppet Show, but of course became a super famous character afterwards. We then have the Newsman, Dr. Teeth, Miss Piggy in a new outfit with a new hairdo. We've got Kermit sitting down as always, Fozzie, Scooter, Bunsen, and Menomina. The final row starts off with the female Kuzbanian, which is really cool to see. The female Kuzbanian, named the Kuzbanian Mama when she had a Muppet of the Week, much like the male Kuzbanian, has not appeared since Muppets Take Manhattan. I really, really hope we get a new Planet Kuzbane sketch at some point here. Look, I need to see the Galileo Hoop Hoop again, thank you. We then have Mildred Huxeter, another classic Muppet Show character, and George's dance partner. She has appeared in several recent Muppet productions. I distinctly remember her being in the background of Muppets Most Wanted. She's been in a couple other places recently as well. We then have Zelda Rose. This is a background character who has appeared in many, many places over the years, but another character who last appeared in Muppets Tonight. Specifically in my favorite episode, The Cameo Show, where she was Dr. Phil Van Neuter's mother. So, yeah, been over 20 years since we last saw her. We then, of course, have Janice, and then I'm pretty sure this is just a generic female whatnot, one of the weirdly, realistic ones. We then have a chicken. I can only assume this is Camilla. And finally, one of the most interesting ones, I'm pretty sure this is Miss Mousy, which is absolutely crazy. This was a character created for the original Muppet Show pilot as sort of a love interest for Kermit in one segment. It's very cool to see her back. We haven't seen her in anything since the Muppets A Celebration of 30 Years. Before that, she didn't appear since the third season of the Muppet Show. This design seems to be a rebuild of the character. The eyelashes definitely look a little bit different, and the Muppet Wiki also mentions that this version of the puppet has a tail, which the previous one apparently didn't. What a great character to bring back. What a great roster of obscure Muppets to have back here. I could only hope that they're used and aren't just little cameos. And I could also only hope that we get some new characters as well. I really do hope that we get some new characters added to the roster, in addition to all these great returning ones. One of my favorite parts about the Muppets lineup is just how expansive it is, and I can't wait to see what other characters end up coming back. We then have a shot of Miss Piggy turning around in a silk robe and a little towel drying off her hair. Hey guys, tie-in editing here real quick to add a very brief new section to the video. As I mentioned in the intro, Disney officially uploaded the trailer while I was halfway through making this video, and when they did, I was very surprised to see that the thumbnail is a shot from this scene with Miss Piggy that actually didn't appear in the trailer. In fact, both Muppet Show trailers they've done so far have included a screenshot from the show that isn't in the trailer itself. Super weird to see, but the screenshot here is from this scene with Piggy. It seems she's busted out of the dressing room wearing this outfit. The Swedish chef is on her left. At the bottom of the screen, we have a very frazzled Kermit. Scooter looking up at her with a clipboard, no doubt consulting Kermit. Very nice to see him, since I don't think he was anywhere else in this trailer. And also in the background, we got Uncle Deadly, Mildred Huxeter, and Marvin Suggs. I wonder if Uncle Deadly is going to have any dialogue here. Maybe he's consulting Kermit about whatever tantrum Piggy's about to throw. But yeah, had to throw that in since that scene is new for the thumbnail. Also, now that we have the trailer in HD, I can officially say that it seems the character Sabrina Carpenter is picking up and throwing is Blue Freckle. Great to see that he's going to get some usage in this special. And speaking of which, back to your regularly scheduled video, the next shot is the one I referred to earlier with Sabrina Carpenter and JG, where she smashes a bottle over his head. We then have that shot of Beauregard I already mentioned, and a shot of Zoot and Lips, probably part of some sort of Electric Mayhem musical number. And then we end on a shot of Seth Rogan, who tells Fozzie, who's wearing a big balloon animal hat, "It's always been my dream to be here." To which Fozzie says, "Got any other dreams?" Which is a pretty solid joke to end the commercial on. Some classic sort of Muppet self-deprecating humor there. I'm surprised to see Seth Rogan make an appearance. He is an executive producer, and the show is being handled partially by his production company, so I guess I should have expected him to show up. I don't have any problems with Seth Rogan, although I will say I don't want it to be like an in-universe thing that Seth Rogan helped bring the Muppet Show back, I don't think that needs to be established. I don't think we need a guest star other than Sabrina Carpenter, right? But Seth Rogan is a very big, very popular comedian and comedic actor, and just like Sabrina Carpenter's inclusion here, Seth Rogan being involved and showing up on screen here could be another thing to help pitch this show, right? You gotta remember, this is a pilot, this is a backdoor pilot for a full-fledged revival, and look, this looks solid. I have no complaints here. I like what we've got going on. I'd like to see some more of the segments, I think what we're seeing is good. I can't wait to see it. It comes out February 4th, so not going to be a very long wait. And hopefully it is picked up for the, fall 2026, spring 2027 season. I am so happy, guys, that this is airing on ABC. That this is going to be an actual regular TV show and not a streaming show. I know it's also going to be on Hulu and Disney+, probably next day, I'd assume, like a lot of their stuff is. But my biggest fear with the Muppet Show revival would be that it would be one of those sort of crappy Disney Plus shows that gets 6 episodes, right? If this airs, it will be an actual, presumably primetime weekly series, which hopefully has a good, 20-episode season. And for a variety show, that's what you want to have. You want to have it airing on a traditional television network with an actual decent episode order every year. I think it's crazy to say this for a modern Muppet production, but I'm really confident in what we're seeing here. And I really hope that what we have is good. I think they're doing the right things here. Of course, the biggest controversy that's going to come out of this, as per usual, is Kermit's current voice. It is what it is. I'm not the biggest fan of Matt Vogel's Kermit. But I will say, at the very least, him hosting a Muppet Show is going to give him some more airtime than usual. Current Kermit is not on screen often these days. Having him appear weekly as the host of a new Muppet Show would give Matt Vogel Kermit a much more consistent set of appearances than the very sporadic appearances Kermit has had since Vogel took over the character almost a decade ago now. And I think him appearing more often could help me and others get a bit more used to the voice, even if we're not the biggest fan of it. But I think this all comes together to make something that's looking pretty good, pretty solid, and I hope it comes together and comes to fruition as a full series. I might be doing a review of the full thing when it drops next month. We'll just have to wait and see. But for now, let me know what you think about this trailer. What are you feeling? Are you hoping it looks good? Do you think it looks good? Do you think it looks bad? Could you beat Miss Mousy in a fight? I don't know. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Bye now.